Alhamdulillahi wahdah, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah, amma ba'd. The most important thing for believers is the gift of Iman that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has provided us all with. We are so fortunate to have this gift. And you could see people how they're struggling to even understand that. And since our previous generation, they worked hard. For 1400 years, the teaching of Islam remained in its pristine condition. There has been no change whatsoever in Islamic teaching as a whole. There have been many fringe ideas and few crazy understanding of people, factions came out of it, and they had their own understanding. But Ummah as a whole has kept the teaching of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam of Quran and Sunnah so intact that you can refer it back even now, all the way back to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through the chain of narrations, through the connection of ulama, through the orthodox understanding of Sharia. This is the longest any religion could ever do. So alhamdulillah, so the buck stopped at the previous generation though. They maintained it and they get it onto us. It's our responsibility to pass on to the next generation. Unfortunately, in the last 50, 60 years, with the postmodern time, the materialism, the idea of having more out of this world, material world, has crept into our minds as well. So Muslims have become corrupted as well. The world view has changed with regards to, let me just do few rituals of prayer and stay away from some of the major sins, like I wouldn't drink and I wouldn't have pork. Rest is okay. Maybe few things here and there. Those are the most two important things. Wouldn't drink, but some even drink it, but majority wouldn't. And vast majority would stay away from fornication and stuff like that, killing and stuff like that. But all the rest of the list from the major sins, we carry on slipping into it. For example, interest-based transaction has become the norm of Muslim world in the West. You would not find, and I wouldn't ask you to raise your hand, but I can guarantee that none of you can stand up and say, we have never been involved, or someone in the family hasn't been involved. You, in your own family, every one of you sitting in this masjid has someone involved in interest-based transaction, in the name of whatever, whoever gave whatever. But that's not the orthodox understanding. So you've already deviated from the main orthodox understanding of Sharia to fulfill your worldly aspirations, lowly aspirations, materialism. That was nafs dictated. And you would find then subsequently even the fuqaha, ulama of the time, they're not qualified, maybe they are, some of them, but majority are not. They have given that fatwa in order to please you, because you demanded it. It wasn't the ulama's understanding themselves. They never had. Even now, the scholars have very clear stance on that. So that was first thing. You justified it for yourself, circumventing your situation, exaggerating it, creating some hyperbole and giving it to the mufti. By the way, I'm struggling, my children are dying of hunger, we haven't got anything, can I have the house on interest base? Mufti said, if I don't do, perhaps he'll leave the faith, maybe he's dying, let him have it with this, karaha and this, 117, and then repent. And you photocopied that fatwa and posted to everyone, metaphorically. Everyone started doing, wow, this is how it works? Obviously, that's a corruption. That's the first corruption we did. And before that, we had another corruption with regards to ilm. It was never the situation of ummah that the people would go to other than ulama to learn deen. And that was the way of Bani Israel. They had among themselves, when Musa alayhi salam left to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it was planned for 30 days. وَوَعَدْنَا مُوسَى 40 لَيْلَةً وَ30 لَيْلَةً and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it 40 days. So those 10 days was too much for the people. And this Samiri, people came to him and said that, he's not coming. He told you. I can guarantee that he's not going to come back. He's gone. Musa alayhi salam is gone. Now did Musa alayhi salam leave them behind without any support and no communication? Who Musa alayhi salam left them with? Harun alayhi salam, his own brother, a prophet. A prophet is there amongst them. And what did they do? Who did they ask the fatwa? And got a god in the form of calf, metal calf. Who did they go to? Other than the prophet. Now today you see the same situation with Muslim Ummah. This is where they started. corruption starts at this low level, very simple, basic thing. Initially they say, oh, Musa alayhi salam, you're going to cause us trouble. But they keep saying all the miracles, one after the other, I wouldn't understand. Same is the situation with us. Whenever you Google online, whenever you look for fatwa from someone who is not qualified, or you don't know whether they are or they're not, you are doing the same level of corruption as they did. As if, who is there to tell you about? What did Allah tell you to ask? Who should you ask? Allah says, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the people of knowledge if you do not know. Are they people of knowledge? Or you say, I don't know. He's Sheikh so-and-so. Who is he? Where did he graduate from? Why would you forward someone's statement who you can't even rectify or understand or verify the credentials about? Would you go and say, oh, there's a man standing and selling this medication for prostate cancer, start distributing to everyone in the family? Would you do that? So how dare you do that with the religious knowledge? Whatever comes to you, you just pass on to him. I can guarantee you that if you continue with that situation, and we have done that, Ummah has done that, we are having the same fate as the people before us. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam foretold us this. لَتَتَّبِعُنَّ سُنَنَ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ شِبْرًا بِشِبْرًا شِبْرًا بِشِبْرٍ ذِرَاعًا بِذِرَاعٍ. You would follow the footsteps of the people before you, which we are doing. They were the children of prophets. They saw all the miracles. They were the supporter of Musa alayhi salam. They were with Musa. They believed in Allah. They believed in Musa alayhi salam and the books. So the stage from there to here didn't happen overnight. It starts off with a small, little naughtiness till it reaches to a corruption which they can't see through. And everything becomes okay. It's only a matter of killing few hundred children and babies in the name of divine promise that we've been promised with. So I have nothing to do with that. That's their work, and that they will find out on the Day of Judgment. What our problem is to learn from what they are doing. We shouldn't be falling in the same trap of shaitan and devil. We shouldn't be following the same way at all. And unfortunately, we have started already. So remember, you only learn deen from the qualified people who you could verify, or someone who you trust verifies. A renowned institution, a masjid. This masjid is responsible to only allow scholars to talk. If they do not and get someone else, whoever is the leader here, whoever is the management committee, they are responsible on the Day of Judgment. You can verify, you can trust that. That's enough. Likewise, whoever comes wherever, media, you can't be naive, say, oh, but I heard someone say. Do you know that individual yourself with regards to their credentials? If not, you are not supposed to forward that to anyone. You are not supposed to listen to any of those things. That's the first thing. That was the first. Subhanallah. We became so much bankrupt with our religious understanding that we cannot even know, or we don't even know where to go to with regards to knowledge. We had the heirs of prophets with clear instruction of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to ask the scholars, if you are in trouble, ask the true scholars from madrasa, properly trained, certified people, not 2 years course here and 1 month course there and 5-day course, short course, Arabic in 30 days course, and then coming to some sort of media and giving the very flowery language speech to you, which appeals to you because they're talking about the thing that you want to hear, in the way that you want to hear, and supporting, it's all okay. You're committing the same crime. Don't do that. But more than that, you have to have your own identity. The biggest problem our ummah now faces with regards to the next generation, they've already lost the plot. They do not trust the ulama, as we don't. They continue with in the same line. They would rather go for someone who gives them, even if it's a French understanding, one quick point, 99% of ummah says haram, but that one says, it's okay. I'm going to go for that because this is what I want to know. This is what I want to hear. He said cryptocurrency is okay, Bitcoin is okay. He said, oh, you don't have to have beard, it's only sunnah. Oh, he said that you can have no niqab, no hijab is not part of deen. You can have just all mixed gatherings, not a problem. Music is not haram at all. All of that has not been the understanding of ummah for 1400 years, and even now. Ulama agree on that. You would not find the ulama. You can maybe have 1 or 2 here and there, as we have always in some eccentric views here and there. But it's up to you to choose your path. You will be responsible for that. And as I said in the beginning, the religion has come to us from generations, from the time of Sahaba down to us. You're responsible to pass it on to the next generation in its totality, not in a corrupted form. If you didn't, you will be questioned on the Day of Judgment. Your children would hold you accountable on the Day of Judgment. Ya Allah, this father of mine and this uncle of mine, they gave me completely fractured understanding. I just followed that and I built up on that. I saw their trend. They would take only whatever they could do without much trouble. They can come to the masjid and be in the first saf and they could do few, maybe beard or a little bit. But they never told me about haram income. They had no concern about music in the house, mixed gathering. All the weddings in our family happen with our ulama, our teachers, our big family members coming and joining us. And we did not have anything to say about that. So obviously we saw that to be okay. If it's okay, then it's okay. If I see my grandfather hugging some of the family member, even in the name of my child, but it's non-mahram, clearly haram. You can't be hugging and touching your non-mahram. Even as fatherly figure in the family, but you're doing it, you're seeing it all and everywhere. And you say, you know what, the children would say, we thought it's okay, so we do the same with our cousins, so what a big deal. And then my class fellow. Remember that it doesn't start here. People leaving faith doesn't start here. It starts from a very simple, basic, naive, silly naughtiness, a small mistake, perhaps innocent mistake, but that builds up if you do not stop. There was a man who was, after having 3, 4, 5 times robbery, brought to justice, and they said that you'll be now hanged to death. You can't live anymore. You have done so much corruption and you cause a lot of atrocities and robbery and this and that. So he said, so when he's hanging like this, they're about to hang him, he said, any last wish? I want to speak to my mom in private. Elderly mom, she came, she said, because hands were tied, I want to speak to her in her ears, whisper. Mom came so close to the mouth, he bit mom's ear and bit it so hard that it started bleeding. And she was crying in agony and pain. People said, are you crazy? This is what you're doing to your mom? He said, I had no other choice. I could have killed her. So what are you saying? And what are you doing at this time when you're about to die? He said, yes, because she is the reason why I am in this situation. When I picked something from the shop the first time, she patted on my back. She was happy with that. And since then, I started doing bigger and even bigger crimes, and she was always supportive of that. She never said it's wrong or bad. Now I am laying my life. I would rather that she die in front of me before I die. A very clear message. This is what happened. All our children would hold us accountable because you have opted and you have picked and left from Sharia whatever suits you, whatever suited you or suits you. أَفَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِبَعْضِ الْكِتَابِ وَتَكْفُرُونَ بِبَعْضٍ. Allah says to the people before us, would you take some of it and leave the other? And Allah said, "Udkhulu fi silmi kaffa." You have to enter Islam as a whole. You can't take some and leave the others. Even if you do not practice certain things, that's a weakness of human being. We can be weak. We all can fall short of certain action. You might not be able to do certain obligation even and commit some haram as well. But as long as you continue to believe that that is wrong and this is what I should be doing, rather than justifying it. And that was the problem. So Ummah has made certain things which were part and parcel of Sharia and Islam, we have actually took it outside of the fold of Islam. We say, I don't need to do that. We have chopped Islam in such a way, it just, according to my own understanding, is carved to suit my lifestyle. For you, yours. Everyone has their own handmade idol called Islam. Not what Rasulullah ﷺ wrote, not what Ummah understood for 1400 years. And we will be questioned about that. What is your understanding of Sharia and what was your action about it? So when you put those different value system in your home, in your houses, which goes, whether it goes against Sharia, oh, you can have it, or you do whatever, but you can't do this because in our family it doesn't work like that. Letting children commit all the haram, but cannot get you married to that particular lady because she's from a different tribe or with a different family or different background. No, not at all. You go and do whatever you want. I would rather you commit all the haram. You don't say it, but this is what you mean. You can have a relationship, but don't come to me and say that I can marry in this family. Daughter or son, whatever. So many different things. I'm just hinting to some of the point. You have to work on that and find out where you are wrong, where you have to sort it out before the next generation put you to task, take you to task on the day of judgment. Mufti Saeed Palanpuri Sahib rahmatullahi passed away last year, one of the greatest of the imams of the time. Wallahi, if you were to find out few beacons of light for ummah, he was one of them. He was asked this question. I might have mentioned it somewhere, but recently. Remember, for our children to keep on the faith, or any nation, it's not for Muslims, it's for every nation. If you wanted to keep your religion intact, or whatever group commonality is, you have to have certain icons, certain identification points. They are called shi'ar. Shi'ar. So shi'ar means something that you associate with. Everyone does, and everyone has the same. That is why we have this Kaaba to face. Why we all face Kaaba? وَلِلَّهِ الْمَشْرِقُ وَالْمَغْرِبُ. Allah is everywhere. Like with regards to His presence, one can face any direction. فَأَيْنَمَا تُوَلُّوا فَثَمَّ وَجْهُ اللَّهِ. Allah says in Quran, wherever you face, you could find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So why? Because just to get the unanimity, get the ummah together, get the ummah on the same line, following the same path. If you do not have certain common grounds, you would never have ummah the way it is. And it is not for Muslim ummah, it's for any organization. You have to have certain statements, certain points, certain slogans, certain shi'ar, certain absolute points which everyone agree on. And you live for that, and you die for that. If you don't, then we are like a flock without any leader, without any gel to gel them together, without any bond to bond them together. And if it's ummah is like that, it's a bead, a string of that is being broken. And you will see beads are spreading wherever they are. One has to be within that boundary. And that boundary is called shi'ar. And the shi'ar of Islam are this Kaaba we face, our Hajj, our Umrahs, we will all do at the same time. Likewise, our masajid, these are the shi'ar, house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Our adhan is shi'ar. For Muslims, when they go out as an identification, their shi'ar is their beard. A Muslim beard, not short beard, with small mustaches, not long mustaches. You should be able to see and say, this is a person who is a Muslim. And for young boys, and likewise for adults, headgear of any sort. That's a complete tick box to say, oh, I can see this is Muslim. If Mufti Sahib or Maulana Sahib, they go out, anyone looking at them would identify them as a Muslim. If they can't, then there is some problem with you. You have to have your appearance in such a way that anyone can identify you as a Muslim. That is your identity. So Mufti Saeed Sahib Palanpuri Hafizahullah, someone asked, what do we do to our children? How can we make them connect to Deen? He said, there's only one way. Get them all topis. Let them all have their headgears outside. Whenever, obviously in the school they can't do it, rest of the time they can. Let them all wear, because they cannot grow beard, small kids, have them the topi. This is what he said in America a few years back. So they said, what do we do to our kids? He said, only one liner. Let them have their head cover outside. Wherever they, masjid obviously, but outside as well. Wherever they go, if they could, not the fancy headgear, rather a proper topi, a proper cap, a proper whatever. That something which signifies Muslim, whichever culture. So that it's not farq, it's not wajib, it is sunnah obviously, but this is how they would associate themselves to the religion in the wider community. If the children, or adults for that matter, do not feel comfortable associating themselves to the religion, they would never be able to stand firm in the time of trials and tribulation. And this is what you're seeing, how people have clear agenda. Everyone is working, the family, children, they're losing it left, right and center, they're still okay with that. Why is that? Because they all have the right attitude, with the right mentality, with the right target. Nothing can change them. They can live their lives, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would help them. But we have to do the same. with regards to our attachment, our connection, our emotions. You can only have that if you were to adopt some of those telltale signs, some of those indications, that icons that identify you as a Muslim. You decide. Mufti Sahib was the Grand Mufti of India. So he, mashallah, has mentioned that. Like in the Shaykh al-Hadith, he used to teach Sahih al-Bukhari. He was a Grand Mufti, sorry. He was a Shaykh al-Hadith of Bukhari Sharif. 50 years worth of Hadith teaching and whatnot. Our Ustad here is his student, maybe indirectly. Yeah, mashallah. Mawlana Yusuf Sahib studied with him. Great Imam. He used to come here in Ramadan. One liner. Why? Because that's a prepubertal boy can only have one sign, external sign, just with the head. Yeah. Nothing else, because you can't change their clothes, unfortunately. Ideally it should be, but here you can't. It's school clothing or whatever uniform. For girls, scarf. For men, this plus this. You should be seen as a Muslim. You should not shy in showing your identity to be Muslim. If there was a trouble, it's a different matter. If you're going for interview, different matter. If you're going, then obviously yes, but day to day, not in your maybe office, leave that. But while you're coming to the masjid, why do you have to have your trousers, and why do you have to have your, I don't know, faded hairs? Why is that? What dictates that? It's not further wajib, not talking about that, but how do I know that you are a Muslim sitting there without your headgear, without your beard? And you say, I don't care what people think about me. Yes, then you would know very soon when you are separated from that flock. Lone prey are a very good prey for the predator. Shaitan and Dajjal in this case, and nafs. So may Allah give us tawfiq to understand and live for our deen and die for our deen, following the way of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and having no resentment with regards to, why am I born in the Muslim family? SubhanAllah. That's the greatest ever blessing that Allah has given us. So respect it, otherwise we'll be taken back. May Allah give us tawfiq. قولوا قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين.